What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View, here for your 2018 AFC Championship preview between the New England Patriots and the Jacksonville Jaguars, determining who the AFC team will be in the Super Bowl number 52. I'm going to preview this game in depth. Patriots offense versus the Jacksonville defense. We're going to take a look at that first, and then we're going to move over to the Jacksonville offense versus the Patriots defense. We're going to take a little dive into the special teams and why I think that's so important in this game. And then I'm going to give you my prediction at the end of the video, as well as some of the X factors to the games and some of the big matchups that I think will be determining this game and who will move on to the Super Bowl. All right, let's start off with the Patriots offense versus the Jacksonville defense. Now, we all know that the Patriots offense and the Patriots in general, they always focus on a team's weaknesses and stay away from their strengths. They're a matchup-based team that doesn't really try and impose their will or impose their system on a team like some other teams will in the NFL, but they're a very versatile, adaptive team and system. And the Patriots, especially on offense, focus and key in on your weaknesses and stay away as far as they can from their strengths. Now, when we talk about the Patriots offense versus the Jacksonville defense, we have to first look at what the Jacksonville defense's strengths are. Everybody knows that their defensive line is one of the best in the NFL. Calais Campbell, Yannick Ngakoue, Malik Jackson. The list goes on. Dante Fowler. So this is a defensive line that's very good. And this is a defensive line that can get pressure by themselves. They got the second most sacks in the NFL without barely blitzing. They blitzed the least in the NFL. They are able to send for and get sacks more than not. And this is a defensive line that is very, very aggressive and very good at getting after the quarterback, which is going to be big when we talk about getting after Tom Brady in this offense. But also, this is a team that has a great secondary, and it's very hard to find a defense that has multiple Pro Bowl corners, multiple Pro Bowl defensive linemen, good backers. This is a defense across the board. Defensive line, linebackers, safeties, corners, they're all good, they're all solid, and I would dare to say that at least two of them at every level would start on every defense in the NFL. That's how bold I am at saying that, because that's how good this defense and that's how talented this defense is. Now, when we're really focusing on the Jacksonville defense, their strengths are their corners, A.J. Bouye, Jalen Ramsey, and then their defensive line. So, what are the Patriots going to do? What have other teams done to the Jacksonville Jaguars that's really been successful? Now, when I look at the game plans of other teams and when I look at teams that have been successful, teams that have been able to beat the Jaguars, teams that have been able to score points on the Jaguars, I look at their weakness being, first, that they struggle with the tight end position. They're one of the worst teams at covering tight ends, and they're also one of the worst teams at covering running backs. Now, what do the Patriots do really well? And this is why I think the Patriots offense is going to have a decent day here, is because the Patriots love to throw to their running backs. They love to use their tight end, and they're very creative in using these players, and they're probably better than anyone else in the NFL at utilizing the tight end position and the running back to beat you in the passing game. Now, when I look at this matchup, I look at the individual matchups between the safeties and the linebackers and Gronk, Lewis, White, and Burkhead. Those are the players that are going to try and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Rob Gronkowski, who will he be covered by? My guess is that when he's in line, when he's on the line of scrimmage, when he's playing the traditional tight end, he will be covered by Myles Jack and probably Tashawn Gibson or Barry Church. One or the other. It will probably be a double team variation of one of those guys, but we'll primarily see Myles Jack covering him in traditional sets. And then when he splits out to play wide receiver, because he does do that very often, especially on third down, I expect Jalen Ramsey or A.J. Bouye, whatever side he's lined up on, will be covering him. So watch out for that matchup. That's going to be a huge matchup in this game. Obviously, Gronk's the best tight end probably ever. And, you're talking about very talented cover guys. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. I think Gronk has advantage in any matchup but I think it's going to be very interesting to watch. And then when it comes to the running backs, I think most of it will fall on Telvin Smith, who I believe will cover Lewis or a White or a Burkhead out of the backfield on, the big downs and traditionally on first and second down. But the big thing that I'm looking towards when the Patriots are playing offense is how they use their base personnel. Because if anyone's ever figured out a way to beat the Jaguars, it's been using base personnel. Whenever the Jaguars are having to use 3 linebackers, 4 linemen, a traditional 4-3 defense, they're actually not nearly as good as when they use nickel defenses. When they're allowed to use that third corner and when they're able to rush the passer in that nickel defense, they're a lot stronger. When they use their 4-3 traditional set, whatever they may be using, they're not as good. So the Patriots base personnel package is going to be interesting to watch in this game. And the big thing I feel is huge because they're going to force Paul Posluszny to stay on the field. Now, why would you want to force Paul Posluszny on the field? Not because you think it's going to be easier to run against, but because you think it's going to be easier to throw against. Now, not only are the Jaguars 21st against the run, they have improved as of late, but that would still be considered one of the weaknesses of this defense. You can find running lanes against this defense. You can have decent success running the ball. And I think the Patriots early in this game will go out and have a game plan to, in the first quarter, feel out their opponent, run the football, and it will also be crucial if they're in the lead in the fourth quarter. I don't expect a ton of throwing near the running near the second and third quarters. I think that will largely be dominated by Brady's arm moving the ball down the field. But I think there will be times when the Patriots want to run the ball, and they will be able to run the ball in their base personnel. Now, the interesting thing about the Jaguars is they are one of the worst teams in the league at defending the pass out of base personnel. So base personnel, is like 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, or a tight end, a fullback, and a running back. So those are kind of like the running sets, right? So teams that were able to take advantage of that were the Tennessee Titans, the LA Chargers, almost said San Diego, the Arizona Cardinals, the 49ers especially, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at times also were able to take advantage of this. And players that had good games, you're talking about the Austin Ecklers, the Seals Jones, Kyle Juszczyk, Vance McDonald. These guys are not nearly as good as what the Patriots pose against the Jacksonville defense. And I think that they'll be able to find ways in their base set to find ways to get the ball to their players and have the advantage against the 3 linebackers and the safeties on the field. I think that the Patriots' plan will be to come out in base personnel, run or pass the ball, maybe use some play action, and then kind of find nice ways to move the ball short down the field, short passing game, and running the ball and getting into good, manageable third downs like 3rd and 4s. Moving the ball kind of like we saw them move the ball against the Falcons in the Super Bowl or the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl previous to that they played in. Those are the type of defenses that Jacksonville kind of emulates. It plays a very cover 3 match and occasionally like a cover 1 robber look. But they use a lot of cover 3 and, that's the type of defense they play. And because they play that defense, they're susceptible to short passes. They're susceptible to running back passes. They're susceptible to the middle of the field because the rules for the linebackers in the defense in the zones, the rules for the linebackers and the safeties are more difficult to figure out than the ones on the corners. The corners mostly basically play man coverage on the outside, and that's why I feel like Chris Hogan and Brandon Cooks will be kind of a non-factor in this game. You might see them get 1 or 2 plays. Maybe they'll try a trick play and a bomb to Brandon Cooks or something like that, but I don't think they're going to be big factors. I think they're going to say, hey, Bouye and Ramsey are the strength of this defense. We're going to focus inside. We're going to say Gronk, Lewis, these guys, Amendola. We're going to focus on those matchups. Amendola versus Colvin on 3rd down and longs is going to be a big matchup. Who wins that matchup? In the slot, and that's going to be a guy that Brady really trusts and goes to in big plays, so that's interesting to watch. But I think, again, going back to what I think the Patriots are going to do, I think you're going to see a lot of up-tempo, I think you're going to see the Patriots go up tempo because they're going to start in base personnel. They're going to run or pass on early downs. Then they're going to hurry up. They're going to spread them out. They're going to go 5 wide with the base personnel, meaning that they're going to have maybe 2 running backs out there, or a running back and a fullback and a tight end, and they're going to have 2 receivers. And then they're going to say, okay, we're going to spread you out. And once we've ran, first down, maybe they get a gain of 4 yards on a run. Then they're going to hurry it up. They're going to go 5 wide. Everybody's going to be out there. Brady's going to have the ball. This is also tiring the defensive line and the pass rush out. So Brady has matchups that he likes, because maybe he'll have a Dion Lewis versus a Paul Posluszny. That's a favorable matchup. Maybe he'll have a Gronk versus a Miles Jack, one-on-one. And then the Jags, this young defense, is having to figure out ways to, slow down this offense. And I don't think that it's going to be as effective as it was against Tennessee in the up-tempo and on the hurry-up game, because Tennessee is a very complicated defense, and they do a lot of different schemes and a lot of different blitzes and stuff. Jacksonville does the same sort of looks over and over, and they just kind of do what they do, but they do it well. And that means that they won't be thrown off by what they see in the no huddle, but I just think that will allow New England to have their best possible matchups, and that's why I see that happening. Also, I think that the Patriots early on in the game will come out and they'll use screen passes, they'll run draws, they'll run quick passes, similarly to the way that they played the Chargers. Chargers had Bosa and Ingram on the defensive line. They're going to want to slow this defensive line down, and there's no better way than getting a lot of plays off, wearing the team out, and also getting a lot of quick passes so that the defensive line is rushing and then instantly having to stop. And then the throw's gone. And then it's rushing and then throw's gone. Then rushing. And that is why I believe that even more so than the interior pressure that everyone wants to focus on when facing Tom Brady, you need to get a pressure up the middle. You need to get a pressure up the middle. To me, the even more important thing, even though that's very important, especially on third downs, Calais Campbell, Malik Jackson, these guys are going to have to get inside and push the pocket so Tom Brady's uncomfortable and he can't step up. But the second thing is that they need to be physical with the receivers, whether that means they're going to play more man coverage, whether that means they're going to bump and run more. I'm not really sure, but I just think, they need to find ways to be physical with these receivers, Jacksonville does, and throw off the timing of Brady and his receivers, because this is a timing offense. This is an offense that's basically predicated on, okay, you're going to be here at this moment in time, and I'm going to throw you the ball in this spot. And that's why the Patriots are so successful, and that's also why, teams need to be able to bump and run. And Jacksonville does have the players that can do that. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's what they end up focusing on heavily on defense. Then also talking about some of the big things that I think, really going to dictate who's going to be good on both sides of the ball. I think the red zone is obviously big. If the Jacksonville Jaguars want to win, when the Patriots do reach the red zone, which they will, they need to keep them out of the end zone. I know that's easier said than done, but if they're able to do that, that gives Blake Bortles, that gives their offense, that gives, guys on their offense a better chance to win this game, because they're not going to have to win a shootout. So that's huge. Then the second thing and most important thing is watch how good New England runs or throws the ball, moves the ball in general on first and second down. Because if third down is a manageable situation, meaning third and 6, I would say, and under, like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 6, those are very easy to convert when you're New England, because you have so many plays open. You have the whole playbook open. And with the amount of plays that Brady knows and McDaniels knows and that they have studied, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for Jacksonville to play their same 3-4 defenses and get away with that on 3rd and 6. So they need to really slow down the run game, and they need to stop first down plays. So that's big for Jacksonville. Also, I believe that turnovers will be more key than usual. Jacksonville, if they're going to win this game, they need to force 1 or 2. They need to force 2 turnovers, and they need to be in good position to score. They can't just be 2 turnovers. They need to be in good position, because I think they really need to win this game on their defense. And for me, the X factors of this side of the ball is, 1, Malik Jackson of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he will be key in getting pressure up the middle on Tom Brady. And then the running backs of the Patriots, Dion Lewis, James White, Rex Burkhead, these guys I think are kind of flying under the radar the whole season. They've been a huge part of this offense, and I think that they're going to be a huge part of this game plan. So look out for those two X factors. And then for the Jacksonville offense versus the Patriots defense, this is a little bit more simple. There's not as many things to look at, but it all starts for me with the run game. And if Jacksonville can get a good run game, if they can get a good run game going, it's going to open up what Bortles and Jacksonville wants to do offensively. If they're not able to run the ball, and that's talking, probably like 3 yards per carry and down, if they're not getting like 4 yards a carry, it's going to be difficult for Jacksonville to move the ball down the field. And I really think it's going to be hard for them to run the ball because I think New England is going to completely focus on what does Belichick do? What's the cliche? He takes away your best player. And for me, that's Leonard Fournette. And for me, that means you're stopping the run. And for me, that also means that they're going to play it a lot like they did the Tennessee Titans. All we heard about, last week was how the Titans can run the ball and how Derrick Henry is so good and how the Titans can run the ball so effectively. Well, the Patriots came out. They played a 5-man defensive line, which I think they're going to do again this game. That means they're going to have 2 outside linebackers. They're going to have 3 fat dudes in the middle, and they're going to just say, run the ball. And if you run the ball, you're not going to get many yards. And then they're going to be like, okay, Blake Bortles, that means you have to beat us. So I think that overall, the Patriots are going to make it very difficult and take away Jacksonville's favorite run plays, favorite designs, and really take away their read option as well, because when you have 5 guys across, it's very difficult to run read option, because when you run the read option, you're running right into a guy. Or if you run what also the Jacksonville Jaguars love to do, which is the play action boot game, they love to throw screens. I think a big thing is going to be screens and just passes to the running back for Jacksonville. If they can get effective in that area of the game, they're going to have success. Like if Bortles is throwing to Yeldon and he's open and he's beating his man, then that's a big deal, because I think he is maybe the X factor for their offense. But also the play action boot game. You think about it, right? You have all these guys on the defensive line. How are you going to run a play action boot unless your offensive line is amazing? And you're running a play action boot and there's just a guy standing right there because they have so many guys on the defensive line. So I think that's what Belichick is going to try and do. He's going to take those 2 facets. He's going to take what Bortles likes to do best. That's run out the pocket, run, or pass out of the pocket, or run play action boots. And I think he's going to take the middle of the field. He's going to take the run, and he's going to take those 2 things away. And he's going to say, Bortles, beat us. And to me, what I think the Patriots are going to try and do, and what I've seen personally from Bortles, is he is the weakest when throwing outside the numbers. When he's having to throw to his receivers on the outside of the field, that's when he really struggles, like Tim Tebow level struggles. Like he's bad out there. When he's able to have time and he's able to throw over the middle, he can complete some passes and he can have a good game. So I think the Patriots, they're going to play a lot of man coverage early on, and maybe if there's a 3rd and long, they'll mix in some zone and some spies with Kyle Van Noy. Also, I think a guy that's a big X factor for New England is Marquise Flowers, who's been a great spy and a great backer for the Patriots in the last half of the season. But those are the things that I see in terms of what the New England Patriots are going to try and take away and what they're going to do. And I think that the Jaguars, Bortles is going to have to make plays. And also, not only Bortles, but their receivers. They're going to have to beat Gilmore and Butler for some plays down the field. Cole's going to have a big play. Westbrook's going to have a big play. These guys are going to need to make plays down the field. And if they can do that and they can get chunk plays, then this is a totally different ballgame. I don't really think that they have the advantage against New England's corners. New England's corners are good. Their secondary is good. It's going to be difficult for Jacksonville to move the ball, I think, in this game. I just don't see it quite being the way that Pittsburgh played it. I think the difference between both defenses is, first, I don't think New England's going to be taken off guard and not take Jacksonville lightly off the start, which allowed Jacksonville to run down the field. I think New England is going to focus heavier on the run game, and I think that they have the corners and the safeties and the flexibility in the secondary to be able to do that. They trust their corners to play man. They trust their safeties. And I don't think Pittsburgh did, which was their ultimate flaw. which allowed, because Pittsburgh was concerned with, okay, what if Artie Burns gets beat by Westbrook down the field? New England isn't concerned by that because they say, okay, Stephon Gilmore is going to take him away anyways, so we can just play the run. And I think the Steelers were too caught in between, where and also with the Steelers is they're a defense where, like, New England is a defense where they want to take away what you do best. Pittsburgh is more of an attack defense where they're like, we're gonna throw this shit at you, and if you can handle it, you can handle it. But we're going to just attack you. Like, we're not going to care what you do. We're just going to blitz, and we're going to do all our things that we do. And if we sack you, we sack you. So it's a different style of defense. I think New England's going to play it more like Buffalo did. So it's going to be a very interesting game from both perspectives. This is the game that I'm looking forward to most, not only because I'm a Patriots fan, but just because of all the matchups, all the schemes, and all the things that could possibly happen. My X factors in these games: TJ Yeldon for Jacksonville, and Malcolm Brown for New England. He's been playing really well, and I think he's going to have to be big against the run. So ultimately, that's my thoughts on the offense and defense matchups. Then talking about special teams, I think special teams has been very overlooked in this game. Special teams is going to dictate, not only field position, but it's huge in this game, because if Jacksonville has good field position, and they're forcing New England to drive the length of the field, that's going to be difficult. And then if New England is having good field position and Blake Bortles is backed up in his own end, they're not going to score many points. So it's really big. A lot of people aren't talking about this, but if Jacksonville can have good field position, they have a chance. Because if they can get their offense around the 40-yard line, 30-yard line every time, then you're talking about a good game for them. And if you're talking about New England potentially being as good as they are in special teams at times, then you're in trouble if you're Jacksonville. So it's going to be very interesting on all three sides of the ball, and it's going to be a really good game to watch. So what's my prediction? Well, my prediction is going to be that the Patriots do win this game. I think it's going to be pretty comfortably. I think it's going to be 24-10. I think New England's defense really stands up here. I think they play a really good game. They force a couple sacks. They get a couple interceptions at the end of the game. And I think they stand tall. And they stand tall. New England's offense will be slowed down by Jacksonville's defense at times, but they'll break through more than not. And I think they'll have the ultimate control past the first quarter. The first quarter will be a feeling out process, but once they get past that, New England will start to dominate this game, and that's where we'll see New England take control and advance to the Super Bowl, winning 24-10. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel. This is a channel that does exclusively NFL content. We're going to have a ton of Super Bowl coverage and we do a ton of recaps, previews, all that sort of stuff. And if you enjoyed what you saw here, that's just the surface level. So subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you after the games this weekend. Peace.